Hi there, everybody. Hugh again here with you. Good to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all the recent subscribers here over these last few days. Really been making a push on this channel and been getting some nice response. So if you do enjoy this, please consider subscribing. I want to bring you some interesting content that you find enjoyable. Played another show today with the Hornworms in Carbondale this afternoon. It's Mardi Gras themed shows. This is a new group I've been able to play with for some Christmas shows. And recently in this new year with the Mardi Gras themed stuff, I played a Woodbox Gang song with them that they've made a really nice arrangement for called Never Kissed a Girl. And so that's been really fun and all. And so it's interesting. In doing this with these prison writings these last several days, I feel like I get maybe to live multiple lives. Um, I put that song out that we did last night, Never Kissed a Girl, at another venue in town called Boobies. Got thousands of views and multiple dozens of shares and a lot of excitement. And I put it out on YouTube and it got, like 20, because I feel like the algorithm is getting to places around the country, potentially around the world, uh, that are not in my circle. And so locally, I'm known as a songwriter, musician, performer, and I think a lot of folks locally who know me don't even know that I have ever dabbled in writing, prose writing, and kind of long form stuff that wasn't poetry and songs. And so, and on the other end, a lot of you folks tuning in, which I'm really grateful for. Um, might not be as interested in the musical part, and that's okay. That's understandable. And so, what I'm going to do here is read more from the prison writing I did while I was in Leavenworth Federal Prison back between 2009 and 2011. And once again, I want to remind that I've changed names in this stuff. I wrote this in small little phone contact notebooks, pocket-sized things I could get from the commissary. I would fill them up, and I would buy more. I bought dozens and dozens while I was there, and then in the evenings I'd go into the library and I'd type on the typewriters, and so that I became the typing guy. I wrote a lot of letters for folks. Folks thought I was a lawyer. I let them know I was certainly not, but I did wind up writing a lot of letters while I was writing all of this stuff that I'm reading for you now that's been untouched since 2011, And so, even in a place like that, it's dangerous to be constantly writing a little notebook, little notebook, in some kind of covert sort of way. This next passage references about walking on the track outside, which is something I did a lot. But there'd be times I'd be walking, and I just so happen to get a thought while I pass by somebody, and I would kind of crouch around in some sort of way to uh, secretly write something. It wasn't about that person. It was just a thought that I had, that I should record. And so when somebody watches you write something in a kind of a what seems like a secretive sort of hiding way, that could be a very dangerous thing because in that kind of place there were a lot of folks who were part of trials to basically tell on their co-conspirators and whatever their charges were, and people would just mysteriously, oh, I'm going to be headed out, uh, oh, you getting released? No, but got to go deal with some stuff, and they'd be whisked off away to be a witness in someone's trial. And so when people learned about that kind of stuff, those people were ostracized. Ostracized at best, or some bad things could happen to them, because they were what are known as snitches, and there were a lot of people in there who were only in there because their co-conspirators told on them and trying to save themselves, and they told on their friends and their accomplices, and that's why they were there. So those people were not regarded well at all. And so if somebody suspected you of that, it could be very bad. So I had to be very cautious because I was I was not doing that. I was just writing about the experience, and changing names of people, uh, just to record. That's what I do. I was mostly a songwriter, and in this kind of situation, I became a prose writer. So it's an interesting thing about making friends in such a place, trying to do that, or the danger of that. So that's kind of what this little passage I'm going to do about is about a fellow named Alan Cole. That was not his real name, but he was a fellow I met, and he came in at the same time as I did. And we had actually a lot in common in some ways, and some ways came from different worlds. But this was our first time both being incarcerated. So this is called Alan Cole. You ready? Alan Cole was waiting for me at the door of the compound, at the back door of the compound, and we started walking along the outside track. There wasn't any wind, and the temperature was around 70 degrees. The only clouds in the clear blue sky were fluffy and well defined, as though they'd been ripped right out of a happy child's finger painting. Blackbirds landed on top of the razor wire, and tranquility was in abundance. The massive penitentiary loomed a few hundred yards away to remind us of our potential. "So how did your first day go?" Alan asked. Before I could answer, he said, "Hold up your hands." I did. "Okay, you still have all your fingers." "Yes, I guess I'm off to a good start. How about you?" "Brainless. Easy. I just wiped and mopped up the mess. Most everybody seems nice enough, considering, you know." "How about Franz? He's a real charmer, eh?" "A troll." "So you're from Nebraska?" "Yeah, Omaha." "You're from Chicago?" "No, Southern Illinois, quite a bit south of Chicago. About 6 hours. Closer to Missouri and Kentucky. About an hour from both. My sister-in-law lives in Chicago." We walked at a casual pace along the inside of the fence and saw a couple of inmates in the large garden on the other side, picking the last of the produce. Broccoli, perhaps. There was dead grass next to the sidewalk, cut by the landscaping crew a few weeks before. Mowing season was over. Snowing season was on its way. "So what did you do to get yourself in here?" "You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to." "No, it's okay. I made some pretty poor choices a while back in business with people and money. Like lots of things, it started out fine, then turned out not so fine. Now here I am. How about you?" "Well, about the same, really. I was going along and found myself with a little problem. Tried to fix it, but just made the problem bigger and bigger. All supposed to be temporary, but before I knew it, it was just out of control. You know what I mean?" "Oh, yeah. One minute I'm sitting in front of my computer. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in front of a judge." Exactly. Our trek continued in silence for a while as we took in the scenery. The cracks in the sidewalk, the links in the fence, the cars in the distance, and the famous prison. We passed a few other inmates on the track, and we nodded an acknowledgement. Few made eye contact with us. Alan spoke up again. "I really miss my kids." "How many do you have?" "Two little girls, 6 and 8." "How do they feel about their dad being in federal prison?" "They don't know their dad's in federal prison. They think I'm on a faraway job assignment. I told them I was working for the government on a super secret mission." "You are working for the government, getting 12 cents an hour for it. Are you going to tell them the truth at some point?" "Oh, yeah, when they're a little older. When it's just a story, you know. I don't want to freak them out right now." The sections of the sidewalk were divided in such a way that I could let my left foot step on a crack, then the next time around it would be my right foot. The pace we kept created a beat and a rhythm in my brain. Left, dot, dot, right, dot, dot, left, dot, etc. It quickly gave way to a chant in my head. At Lincoln would we walk around in circles, dot, dot, dot. When I was noticing, when I was noticing all of this, I wondered if Alan had said something to which I should have responded. I was startled by the sound of my own voice speaking out loud. Ever since I got here, I keep reaching into my pocket thinking I feel my cell phone vibrating. Wow, I've been doing the same thing. I used to think I couldn't leave the house or go anywhere without my BlackBerry. That's sad, isn't it? Like an ailment for the modern world. Addiction to connection. Phantom cell phones. I used to spend a lot of time not answering my phone. As far as I was concerned, caller ID was invented so I'd know who I wasn't talking to. Things got pretty hairy for me at the end, too. The stress was a different kind of prison, but it sure wasn't freedom. I know one thing, though. I'm sure glad not to be locked up there. Alan pointed to the penitentiary. Ain't that the truth? We reached the end of the sidewalk, and Alan said, I guess this makes a half mile. I guess we turn around now. I need a pair of tennis shoes. These boots are killing my feet. The commissary is open today. You can buy some. So, how does the commissary work? We fill out our shopping lists? I'm sure we'll figure it out. All right, so that's a passage there. That was the first time of walking around the track, and so that fella and I, as time went on, we wound up. That was our thing, whether walking together or walking separately, walking on the inside of the razor wire fence, and there was a sidewalk in there, and it was marked off to a half mile. So it was pretty easy to count the number of miles you walked in a day. And so my record in one day was walking 18 miles, and his record was walking 22 miles. So he had me beat. But that was a very good way of kind of keeping your head straight, you know, getting that kind of exercise, the blood flowing like that. And it became very addicting every day. I would walk in the most frigid, cold Kansas prairie winter, you know, and walk on the hottest days as well. Maybe not as much as I did during the mild temperatures, but it felt really good to do that, and I think it kept my sanity, and it really kind of helps creativity because I'd be walking and I'd get an idea and a thought, and I would have to sit and write it down really kind of quickly, so that I could remember it to type it up later that night. I don't know, because walking is great for creativity. If anybody is a writer in any capacity, consider walking if you're able. Small amounts at first, and then more, and it gets those brain cells going into the right places. You know, think about the thing you're kind of trying to write it. And sometimes it can really help that. Otherwise, it can make you think about something totally different, and you're focused on that. But either way, it is really, really wonderful for creativity, songwriting, prose writing, all of that, walking, and it's very healthy for you, mentally and physically. So thank you for tuning into this. I've got some more to read for you here, and appreciate everybody. And I will talk to you here in just a little bit.